Have you ever felt that you need your family really bad? That you can't be strong without them? Without family supporting us when we need someone to hold on to is callous. Family motivates us to keep going forward and not look back. Family gives us the strength we need when we can't find anymore, when we are about to give up. Family is the number one thing we need in life to make us feel better and to help us move forward. On a weekend morning when I was 11, we got a bad news from my aunt. Her call wasn't easy to understand. All you could hear was her crying. It was like if everything had torn apart. We couldn't understand what she was saying. All we understood were two words: accident and food mags. For more that we tried, we couldn't get her to calm down and tell us what had happened. All we knew that instant as a family was that something strong and bad had occurred. My aunt had gone to Food Mags to get her grocery shop like every month. When she was on the sidewalk with her 4-year-old son, a white van with a senior male driving it crossed the sidewalk and ran over my cousin. The white van was about to go reverse, so my aunt pulled him out before he could do that. At once, the employees from Food Mags came out when they were watching the civilian cameras and stopped the guy from fleeing the scene. Fortunately, they stopped him on time. The worst part was that my cousin was really bad. Since Red Bluff didn't have the right equipment for him, a helicopter had to take him all the way to an Oakland hospital. It was a hassle for us to be home and not knowing what was going on with him. The only persons that went were my cousin's parents and my grandparents. They said that they didn't know if my cousin was going to make it, but to have faith and hopefully with the help of God and the Virgen de Guadalupe, everything came out good. He was in the surgery for many hours because he got ran over between his hamstrings and testes. After weeks of being in recovery at the hospital in Oakland, we had good news, and he was going to be able to come back home with his family. The only sad part is that in the future, when he wants to form a family, it might not be possible. The happy news was that he was going to be okay and walk normal again like everyone else. Now he's a 6th grader and he's really talented, academically, artistically, and athletically. After that terrible accident, 2 years went by for another disgrace for the family to happen. When I was in 8th grade, I was on my way back home from school. I was walking inside the gate and my grandma came out crying and afraid. I was lost and I didn't know what had happened. After she calmed down, she told me what had happened. We couldn't believe another disgrace was happening again to us. Once again, we needed to be strong and united. This tragedy was on the newspaper and on the channel news. My cousin was around 6 years old and he liked to play with guns. While his mom was cooking, he decided to get in her room and start playing guns. Under his parents' bed, he found a rifle and thought it was fake, but it wasn't. It was real and loaded. Unfortunately to the family, it was unlocked. He decided to grab it and play around with his 4-year-old brother. They were playing around, having fun, when he pulled the trigger, pointing at his brother, thinking it was fake. The bullet went straight to his chest and right through him and hit the wall. Somehow walking towards his mom, bleeding everywhere, he made it. When his mom saw him, everything went chaos. She didn't know what to do. She called 911 and the ambulance got there, but once again, they didn't have the equipment here to deal with that situation, so they sent him to Sacramento. His parents blamed themselves for what had happened. They knew they shouldn't have had a rifle under their bed, loaded and unlocked. This situation not only affected the 4-year-old boy, but also the 6-year-old boy. Where the 4-year-old boy was at the hospital fighting for his life, the 6-year-old boy was traumatized. He looked at the wall and saw the hole, and he remembered everything that had happened. He was in bad conditions and blamed himself for shooting his little brother. He was destroyed with the guilt feelings, so they had to start looking for a new home. Meanwhile, the doctors were trying to remove the bullet from the 4-year-old boy, but they didn't know if it had reached one of his organs, like his lungs, because the bullet went a little near his heart. While he was at the hospital, everyone at home was praying for him to be okay and still living. We didn't know if he was going to make it, but at the bottom of our heart, we truly hoped he did. We didn't want to lose him. He was so innocent and little. It was really hard as a family to deal with this. After some time, he came back home with us. He was still a little weak, but overall, he was doing well. We were happy that he had survived to that shot. At the end, he didn't have hatred toward his brother because he knew they were playing around and that he didn't mean to do it. He didn't know it was real and loaded. More than anything, he loved his brother and he believed in a second chance to life. Family could be distant at times, but at the end, we were all there for each other, in good or bad. We are strong together and united as one. This, I believe.